We start with the grid thumbnail, also known as the explained. This has been a recently popular thumbnail type, gaining traction primarily with explained YouTubers, the fast food Wikipedia articles of YouTube that explains literally anything and everything in a short-ish amount of time. These are the quintessential thumbnail design for this sort of channel, the type of channel that isn't really going in depth, but will give you everything that you potentially want, maybe a bit more, and it's up to you if you want to know what item interests you the most. So basically, a fast food joint. Next up is the Beastified thumbnail. The thumbnail of YouTube. No questions about it. Popularized and subsequently named after Jimmy, the Beastified thumbnail is deceptively simple because it can take literal hours of your precious life editing and rehashing a face that only becomes this excited through fabricated, or rather strenuous, one-handed means. This is designed for clicks, obviously.
I mean, if people don't click, they don't watch.
And it also knows no borders, from sports to food and everywhere in between, which is also why some people believe that this is one of the cancers of YouTube. But let's not forget that the Beastified thumbnail is the evolved form of this next classic thumbnail.
YouTuber, you just want to punch in the fucking face because he just won't stop putting his damn face all over the thumbnails, PewDiePie.
The Soyface thumbnail. Soyface, otherwise known as thumbnail face, was the thumbnail look in the days before the Beastified. Shocked, unnatural, and very much fake, just like the Beastified. The Soyface thumbnail wasn't built for aesthetics either, but because of the age of some of these Soyface thumbnails, they do present a bit of uniqueness to them, while still carrying their clickable traits. There's also the Sunnyfied thumbnail. Named after a guy who hasn't been in the sun for quite some time, the Sunnyfied thumbnail is anotherly overly pretentious but visually aesthetic looking design, typically featuring a ratherly big, photoshopped face of a person. Straying away from facials for the time being, next up is the Corkboard thumbnail, also known as the red string, also known as a bunch of pictures on a detective board. Corkboard thumbnails grew in popularity with the rise of a variety of armchair documentarians, or really just any creator specializing in the long-form video essay. This thumbnail basically kills multiple birds with several stones before proceeding to use the blood of those birds to paint the strings red. Up next is the diptych/triptych thumbnails. Like an actual diptych or triptych, this type of thumbnail requires various segments, strategically organized in a manner akin to this. With this type of thumbnail, there is also some form of progression, though whether or not the video carries that same progression is a different story entirely. AI thumbnails are next, and they are pretty self-explanatory. So next up is the Minimalist thumbnail, the first thumbnail in this video with some form of substance to them. The Minimalist thumbnail is as advertised, but minimal stuff doesn't mean a minimal amount of effort. Whether it's a singular photo or an actual design, the simplicity of these thumbnails leads to products that are a refreshing change of pace from the loudness of some of the others. Of course, you can still put minimal effort into your thumbnails, hence our next type, the low effort thumbnail. Because why spend legitimate hours of your life slaving over a piece of shit image when you know you're going to die tomorrow? The name of the game is minimal effort, and whether you use YouTube's features or just want to utilize a random screenshot, one constant trope remains. The video itself needs to carry the biggest of loads, without releasing that load prematurely. Next up is the sports highlight thumbnail. Most are kinda similar to diptych in a way. For thumbnails featuring individual athletes, such as MMA, boxing, and darts, the only thing that is showcased is the individual who won the thing, though sometimes they'll also include the losers into the thumbnail, depending on the video of course. Next up are various forms of the gaming thumbnail, from the scenic to the minimalist to the clickbait and the chaotic. There are a plethora of gaming thumbnails on this site, but while a lot of them differ from each other, one constant remains: the showcase of the game that will be featured in the video. From gaming to animation, we next have the Animator thumbnail, also known as the illustrated. This is honestly quite simple to explain, as this thumbnail type is almost always used by the illustrators of YouTube. There are some notable exceptions, however. Sometimes the illustration is just simply an object, or just a random body part. Gmod thumbnails are next in this little section of zaniness, and if you want to talk about zany, these are probably the most ridiculous ones yet. From the nostalgic to the life-altering, they're pretty hard to miss, and almost always a bucket of weirdness. There's also the YTP thumbnail, which adds to the degradation, the funny thumbnail, which adds even more degradation, and finally there's the degraded thumbnail, which is just completely degraded. Next up is the blenderized human thumbnail. You know the ones. The thumbnail with that specific 3D model of a person doing something unspeakable, or just being part of a scene that lays the foundation for what's to come. And lastly, there's the human thumbnail. The type of thumbnail that's on most human beings. Tough, protective layers of keratin that needs to be cut every so often, unless you like dirty fingernails or setting world records.
Random Father.